japo tuna tofauti,
kila moja wetu ana sauti. Tuinuane,
ushirikiano wetu,
tuinuane,
na ukaribu wetu. Tuinuane, tuinuane, tuko pamoja maishani. Tuinuane, ushirikiano wetu. Pamoja tusherehekee, sote ni washindi. Tuko pamoja maishani. Tuinuane, tuko pamoja maishani. Tuinuane.
Welcome to the half-year 2022 Safaricom PLC financial results announcement. On behalf of the Board of Directors and the management team and staff of Safaricom PLC, we thank you very much for making time to join us virtually for this event. I'm glad that thanks to technology, which is the foundation of our business, we can virtually connect and engage this morning. We will start off with remarks by John Gumi, the Chairman of the Board of Directors at Safaricom PLC. The CEO, Peter Ndegwa, and the Chief Finance Officer, Dilip Pal, will then take us through the financial performance and the results for the period under review. Should you like to keep your social media followers updated, our hashtag today is #SafaricomHYResults. In keeping with our commitment on diversity and inclusion, our sign language interpreter this morning is David Agondoa. It is now my pleasure to invite Safaricom PLC Board Chairman Mr. John Gumi to make his remarks.
Thank you very much for making time to join us virtually today. This is my first financial results announcement since I was appointed chair of the Safaricom board. I want to thank the entire board for the welcome, guidance, and support that they have provided me through this transition period. During this half year, management have stayed true to our vision as set out in the 5-year strategy of transforming Safaricom from a telecommunications service provider into a broad-based technology company by 2025. The board expresses its appreciation to management for maintaining this strategic focus, notwithstanding significant macro headwinds that the business encountered during the period under review. Key among these macro challenges were a slowdown in global and domestic economic activity, in part driven by the war in Ukraine and its attendant impacts on food and energy prices, global-wide rising inflation, currency depreciation, higher costs of living, and for us in Kenya, the drought and looming famine. This period also saw notable policy and regulatory developments which posed significant challenges to our business. These include the ongoing discussions on mobile termination rates and an increase in taxes on mobile telephones by 10% and the cost of SIM cards by 50 shillings. Despite these headwinds, the business continued to perform well. We also continued breaking new ground, most notably with the twin launches of operations in Ethiopia and of F5G in Kenya. The board is encouraged by the Kenya government's support for these initiatives and for our business in general. In particular, the board is grateful to and thanks His Excellency President William Ruto for his very strong support, including taking time off from his heavy workload to preside alongside His Excellency Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed over the launch of our Ethiopian operation. The board would also like to thank His Excellency President William Ruto for the role that he has played in resolving the conflict in Ethiopia. Peace and stability are critical ingredients for Safaricom and others to carry out their activities in Ethiopia. We do not take this support by the government for granted and will ensure that we continue to merit it, including helping to realize the economic and social goals set out in the Kenya Kwanza Manifesto. Going into the second half of the year, we see further growth opportunities, especially in the data business and M-Pesa. Let me talk briefly about our 5-year strategy. We are currently 2 years into our 5-year strategy, which is premised on the power of mobile technology and innovation to transform lives by connecting Kenyans to opportunities, to knowledge, and to the world. As a board, we recognize the potential that technology has towards supporting Kenya's economic growth. The board will continue offering oversight and guidance to management as we work to uncover digital-based, data-driven, and insights-led solutions that will help solve customer and societal issues, especially through deepening digital and financial inclusion in Kenya. We will also continue engaging all stakeholders to ensure that our strategy, vision, and purpose reflect and meet the needs and expectations of the individuals, communities, and entities that are impacted by what we do. Let me now touch on our partnerships for development. The elections are now behind us and a new government is in place. We will continue our long-standing collaboration with the Kenya government to deliver innovative solutions that support Kenya's economic recovery and the government's economic and social priorities. The Kenya Kwanza Manifesto contains policy initiatives and drivers within the ICT sector which are aligned to our own vision and objectives. The board fully supports the realization of these policy initiatives and drivers. One such policy goal and economic driver is achieving universal broadband availability and construction of 100,000 kilometers of national fiber optic connectivity network. Safaricom's own 4G network serves 97% of the country's population, while the fiber network itself is 10,800 kilometers long. Given our experience, we are keen to support government's efforts in the rollout of the 100,000 kilometer fiber connectivity over the next 5 years. Another key government policy goal and driver that we're keen to help realize is the provision of at least 80% of government services online. Other government policies and drivers where Safaricom can add real value include establishment of regional innovation hubs for software development, alignment of digital strategy implementation to environmental commitments, youth empowerment through the use of online platforms, and connecting schools to the internet. In pursuit of our goal of supporting Kenyans economically empower themselves, we are pleased that along with our partners KCB and NCBA, we were able to bring down the cost of accessing credit via Fuliza by up to 50%. We also support government initiatives in encouraging a savings culture through some of our products that Peter will touch on in his presentation. We welcome and appreciate the role His Excellency the President played in enabling us to reach this outcome on Fuliza. The board remains committed to full engagement by Safaricom with regulators on matters ranging from policy development and legislation, taxation, customer registration, and data protection. Ladies and gentlemen, time and time again, we have shown that our business is not just about profits. We are a sustainable organization driven by the purpose of transforming lives. As a responsible corporate citizen, we remain committed to sustainable community investments through both of our foundations, Safaricom and M-Pesa foundations. During this period under review, we led the private sector in partnering with government to address and mitigate against the drought situations in many parts of the country. And most importantly, we are engaging with other like-minded players to develop a long-term, sustainable solution towards food security and efficient drought management. We transform lives by investing in communities, leveraging on technology and strategic partnerships in areas of health, education, and economic empowerment. During the period under review, we released our 11th sustainability report, in which we calculated that the total value Safaricom created for the Kenyan society grew by 8% year on year and was approximately 10 times our financial profit. By placing purpose and relevance at the heart of everything that we do, Safaricom will continue delivering consistent returns to shareholders in a sustainable manner. In conclusion, considering the challenging business environment that marked the first half of the financial year, our business has coped well with the headwinds faced. Our continued success and resilience are due to the commitment of our employees who bring the spirit of Safaricom alive every day, ably led by our Chief Executive Officer, Peter Ndegwa, and the entire management team. To you all, thank you. In closing, may I reiterate our commitment to continue playing our full role in Kenya's economic recovery and in the social and economic development of the country. We pledge to continue supporting our customers, all the while delivering value for our shareholders. I'd now like to invite our Chief Executive, Peter Ndegwa, to give his remarks. From me, thank you, Asanteni.
Thank you, John. Our shareholders, representatives of the investor community, the board, management and staff of Safaricom PLC, members of the media and the online community, good morning. Thank you all for joining us this morning. The half year under review was a challenging one for all of us. Economic growth slowed down due to several factors such as rising global inflation, currency depreciation, and the impact of Russia-Ukraine war. In addition, we experienced yet another failed rain season, leading to a severe drought, which has hampered crop production, further compounding the economic situation. The general elections also caused a slowdown in business activity during this period. On the regulatory front, a review of mobile termination rates and the introduction of additional taxes on SIM cards and mobile phones slowing down industry momentum. However, we remain optimistic of Kenya's economic prospects for the remainder of the year. Let me now talk about our commitment to our purpose. Despite the challenges noted, we sustained our focus on our purpose. Indeed, a reflection that we are a purpose-led business committed to transforming lives. We continue to contribute towards improving the quality of life for Kenyans, as shown in our latest Sustainable Business Report, which we recently launched. As per the report, we sustained over 214,000 jobs directly and over 1.1 million jobs indirectly during the past financial year. We've also contributed almost 400 billion Kenya shillings in economic value through our operations and taxes paid to the government. Let us now look at our environmental, social, and governance impact, which we call ESG. Our sustainability agenda addresses our commitment to sustainable development goals. We are building an inclusive business that meets the needs of our customers, our partners, and our community, whilst also protecting the planet. 15% of all our sites have now been upgraded to renewable energy. We target to grow this number to 25% by the end of the current financial year as we continue to push to becoming a net zero carbon emitting company. On diversity and inclusion, we continue to increase gender representation across our business. During this period, we invested 510 million Kenya shillings in Safaricom foundations for various community-focused support projects. So how did we support communities across the country? During this period, we rallied the private sector through the Pamoja Tuungane campaign to support over 4 million Kenyans facing drought in 23 counties. Pamoja Tuungane is complementing the government initiatives by providing emergency relief food. Through our two foundations, we donated 100 million Kenya shillings for relief food towards this campaign. We are deeply encouraged by our customers who donated their bonga points, as well as other corporates who joined this cause. They helped us to raise an additional 32 million Kenya shillings. Let us now have a look at how we've showed up for our customers. We developed value propositions that enable us to serve our customers more intuitively at a more affordable price. It is important to note that our voice and mobile data prices have been consistently dropping over the past 5 years. We have, for example, brought down the cost of mobile data by 31.7% year-on-year. In the same period, we've registered a usage increase in mobile data of 69.8%. Additionally, we reduced Fuliza pricing by up to 50% during this first half of the year. We further introduced tools like Data Manager, usage statements, and out-of-bundle threshold management, which have provided customers more transparency and control of their usage. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the technology and digital partner of choice for many businesses in Kenya. As a technology company that powers new digital ecosystems in key sectors such as health, agriculture, and education. As you are all aware, we recently launched commercial 5G services after a successful test period. The first use case that is being rolled out is fixed wireless access product. With 5G, customers can get fiber-like experiences in areas we are yet to roll out fiber. The high speeds and low latencies offered by 5G will unlock a broad range of opportunities, optimize service delivery, uplift societies, and drive economic development. Let me now recap on our mission and our strategy. Our mission this year is to accelerate new growth areas, delivering superior customer experience in order to be a purpose-led technology company by the end of 2025. I'm confident we will scale these new areas beyond our traditional connectivity and payment services, subject to the regulatory approvals. So how did we perform against this mission in the first half of the year? Our market share has improved by 1.3 percentage points since March 22 to 65.8% as of June 2022. Based on the Communication Authority's report ended June 2022, there are 32.9 million feature phones in the country. This shows the potential opportunity for 4G devices growth. For instance, during this period, we added 1.2 million 4G devices to our network. This is in line with our focus of driving smartphone penetration for optimum utilization of our 4G population coverage investment. Recently, we upgraded M-Pesa capacity to 2,600 transactions per second without causing any service impact on our customers. We have several products that have been developed in the pipeline for commercial launch. This includes the M-Pesa Junior product, which we are launching later this month. Moving across the border to Ethiopia, during this reporting period, we officially launched Safaricom Telecommunication Ethiopia, a momentous occasion which we are immensely proud. Including Addis, our services are now available in 16 Ethiopian cities. We continue to roll out our operations, providing a high-quality data network in the country while creating opportunities for Ethiopian businesses. We are committed to meet our license obligation by providing commercial services in 25 cities by April 2023. Ethiopia is a country full of immense opportunities. With over 75 million of its population below the age of 25 years, we project a high affinity for data usage, 4G-enabled gadgets, and video content. On the mobile money front, the country is cash-operated with mobile money at its infancy stage. Our learnings and insights from the pilot phase has guided our rollout, including focus on data and the use of biometrics when onboarding customers. We expect Safaricom Ethiopia to invest between $1.5 to $2 billion in capital expenditure over a 5-year period. Deploying a nationwide network means creating millions of direct jobs through tower construction, distributors, agents, staff, amongst others. Safaricom Ethiopia has so far recruited close to 500 Ethiopian staff, including 47 graduate trainees, and is working with regional universities to recruit an additional 100 graduates this year. About 1,500 Ethiopian businesses are working with Safaricom Ethiopia with the intention to expand these growing partnerships throughout the country. Our initial distributors across the regions have also been onboarded, thereby empowering more enterprises. Over 740,000 customers have already been signed up as at the end of October. We've also set up a 24/7 call center providing services in 6 major languages, with plans underway to support more languages. So one may ask, what is the value that we are bringing to Ethiopia? I will highlight just a few aspects of our value propositions for Ethiopia. This includes device affordability and the best data network, amongst others. We will use our experiences and lessons from our past to build the best data network and provide Ethiopians with affordable 4G devices. We have witnessed how access to the internet provides opportunities, powers communities, and boosts socio-economic development. As announced during the Safaricom Ethiopia commercial launch a few weeks ago, the government of Ethiopia has committed to award us a mobile financial services license. Rolling out M-Pesa services will be instrumental in allowing millions in Ethiopia to have easy access to financial services, especially given the relatively low financial inclusion rate where only 35% of Ethiopians are financially included. Ladies and gentlemen, let us now look at our performance for the half year ended September 2022. The period under review was weighed down by macro challenges, business slowdown due to elections, and Safaricom Ethiopia startup losses. For the period under review, Safaricom Kenya posted a service revenue growth of 4.6% year-on-year, while net income grew by 0.6%. On an underlying basis, adjusting for the revision of mobile termination rates, our service revenue growth was 5% and net income growth of 1%. 1.3%. On the group performance, incorporating Ethiopia, we have recorded a drop in net income by 10% year-on-year, excluding minority interest. Let me now address how we are responding to the growing macroeconomic challenges through cost optimization and productivity of the business. Whilst economic, regulatory, and tax headwinds will continue to impact business performance in the second half, we anticipate increased usage and customer growth to drive momentum. We continue to deliver prudent cost management by running an agile organization that prioritizes simplification and the use of data and analytics to solve customer issues faster. This, in turn, is ensuring increased customer engagement at a lower operating cost, leading to happier customers and positive cost leadership practice. Let me now hand over to Dilip to take us through the H1 result in greater detail.
Thank you, Peter. Good morning, all. Hamjambo. It gives me great pleasure this morning to take you through our financial performance for the half year ended 30th September 2022. Before I start, I would like to inform you that the results materials will be available on our website shortly. Let me now take you through the numbers in detail. As Peter has mentioned, the period under review was a challenging one. Our revenue numbers have been adversely impacted by inflationary pressure on consumer spending, a slowdown in business operations in the period leading to, during and after elections, increase in excise duty on SIM cards and mobile phones, and mobile termination rate change that came into effect from 1st August, impacting our interconnect revenues as shown in the middle chart. Our group service revenue therefore grew by 4.6% year-over-year. Adjusted for mobile termination rates impact, our service revenue growth was 5%. Looking at the different product lines, we have recorded growth across most revenue lines. The chart on the left demonstrates that the growth was mainly attributed to growth in M-Pesa, mobile data, and fixed revenues. M-Pesa revenue was up 8.7% year-over-year, supported by increased usage and growth of chargeable transactions per customer. Mobile data grew by 11.3%, driven by increased usage, evidenced by a 69.8% growth in the average gigabits per user. Fixed enterprise and fiber to home revenue grew 26.8% and 16.2% year-over-year respectively, driven by growth in customers. We shall delve into more details on this in subsequent slides. Moving across the charts on the right, you get to appreciate our service revenue contribution profile. M-Pesa now accounting for 39.3% of our service revenue, up from 37.8% last year. It's worth mentioning that these numbers also include Kenya shilling 9.1 million of service revenue from Safaricom Ethiopia. We shall delve into more details on Safaricom Ethiopia a little later. Moving on to M-Pesa, M-Pesa continues to be a key player in the payment ecosystem, driving financial inclusion for our country. We witnessed a slowdown in business activity from the macroeconomic effects and worsened by the election period. We, however, still managed to record a growth of 8.7% year-over-year. As shown on the chart on the right, the 8.7% growth in M-Pesa revenue is attributable to personal payments, which include transfers and withdrawals. Revenue grew 6.7% year-over-year, driven by organic customer growth. Business payments, which include Lipa na M-Pesa, customer to business, business to customer, and business to business, saw a growth of 12.3% attributable to aggressive merchant acquisitions and increased trust from our partners. Financial services, on the other hand, grew by 11.5% year-over-year, driven by better product penetration, higher credit appetite, and customer growth. And lastly, global payments continue to perform strongly, growing 23.2% year-over-year, enabled by growth in remittances. Fintech solutions continue to be a key pillar in scaling M-Pesa and driving stickiness in the ecosystem. Looking at M-Pesa from the perspective of value and volume, velocity in the ecosystem continued to grow, with total value and volume of M-Pesa transactions growing 32% year over year. The chart on the top right-hand corner shows the chargeable transactions per 1 month active customers grew 16.3% year over year to 22.4 transactions, up from 19.3 transactions in a similar period last year. This almost doubled to the pre-COVID levels. M-Pesa wallet to bank and bank to M-Pesa wallet transactions are still zero rated and make up 20.6% of total value and 4% of total volume. The graph at the bottom right demonstrates that our strategy of accelerating new growth areas is bearing fruit. We have seen the chargeable transactions growing faster in the new growth areas compared to the traditional offering of P2P transfers and withdrawals. We continue to invest and drive innovation in new products as we increase our service offering to customers. New business areas in M-Pesa include deepening the payments propositions and broadening further the fintech and international money transfer offerings. Still on M-Pesa, the M-Pesa super apps continue to become a focal point in our strategy as we aim to digitize the payments platform and leverage on technological innovation. The consumer app has many apps functionalities to power digital consumer lifestyles and e-commerce. These apps have continued to record great traction. The consumer super app, as per the chart on the left, has recorded over 6.3 million downloads with 1 million active revenue generating customers, generating Kenya shilling 3 billion in M-Pesa revenues, supported over 225 million transactions with a value of Kenya shilling 603 billion, and with 38.9 transactions per 1 month active customer. The business super app, on the other hand, has also recorded increased momentum with over 500,000 downloads and over 118,000 active merchants. Kenya shilling 321 million in revenues and with over 23.6 million transactions valued at 101.7 billion done via the app. Just to note, more details on M-Pesa performance can be found in the results booklet, which will be on our website shortly. Let me now move on to mobile data. Mobile data revenue remained a key driver of growth, growing 11.3% year over year, driven by increased usage. Our customer value management initiatives and big data analytics have enhanced targeted customer offerings. The new pricing plan, Niwasha Shilingi, rolled out in March this year, also supported this growth. Usage per chargeable data subscriber grew 69.8% year over year to close at 3.4 GB in the period. Data ARPU grew by 16%, driven by 23.7% growth in customers using more than 1 gigabits per month. With 97% 4G network coverage, we are delighted to see that of the smartphone users that grew by 10.7% to 19.2 million, 63% are actually active on 4G devices. We continue to support customers to purchase 4G-enabled devices through our affordable Lipa Mdogo offerings, which has enabled over 1 million customers to enjoy more features at their convenience. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on to fixed service, we are delighted with the strong acceleration of our fixed business, boosted by the growth in customers and ARPU. The top right graph shows that fiber to the home customers have grown by 13.1% to close at 173,000, up from 153,000 in a similar period last year. The bottom right graph gives highlights of the fixed enterprise business. The customers have grown by 16.6% to close at 52,300, up from 44,900 last year. We acknowledge that there is still a lot of untapped opportunity in this area. We are exploring several initiatives to scale, including in IoT and ICT, as Peter mentioned earlier. On voice and messaging revenues, traditional voice and messaging revenue is under pressure. Voice revenue have declined 3.8% year over year, whilst messaging revenue declined by 7.7%. In the long run, this may follow a similar pattern seen in mature markets, but our strategy is to defend our market share. We have consistently been optimizing our pricing over the years to ensure that we drive affordability and usage. This has been well received by our customers amidst the tough macro environment with the rising inflation. It also goes to cement our commitment in supporting our customers during difficult periods to still enjoy the convenience of our products, as Peter mentioned. Looking at new growth areas, as Peter mentioned, one of our key transformative pillars is to accelerate new growth areas. We have continued to record increased momentum with impressive growth trajectories, though on a small base. Our ICT offerings generated revenues of Kenya shilling 0.66 billion, which is 3 times more than in the same period last year. Our IoT business, which majorly serves the enterprise clients, also grew their revenue by 57.9%, driven by new connections, which grew 45.6% to close at 1.4 million. Content revenue recorded Kenya shilling 0.32 billion in revenues from video streaming, services driven on the Beige platform, gaming subscriptions, and educational content. We are committed to continue offering purpose-fit solutions to the market as we serve our SME, MSME, and large corporate segments of the economy. Moving now to Ethiopia performance. Having launched commercial operations in Ethiopia with 16 cities currently live on our network, we have seen very encouraging uptake from our customers. The Safaricom Ethiopia SIM cards came with a welcome offer on data, voice, and SMS for customers to test and experience the network for 1 month. As at end of September, just 1 month post the city pilots, we had onboarded 180,000 customers and generated Kenya shilling 9.1 million in service revenues. We also sold 26.9 thousand handsets, which generated Kenya shilling 89.2 million in revenues to record total revenue of Kenya shilling 98.3 million in H1. These numbers are consolidated in the overall group performance. As per our latest view, as of 31st October, our onboarded customers had grown to 740,000 with an average of 20,000 customers signing up daily. Our 1-month active customers in voice stood at over 591,000, approximately 80% of the gross adds. The data 1-month active customers were 407,000, a 69% penetration on the active voice customers. We are encouraged by the response we have seen on the ground and are committed to transforming lives in Ethiopia. Looking at our group net income, Safaricom Kenya net income grew by 0.6% year-over-year, driven by the 4.6% growth in revenue, but weighed down by growth in cost and Ethiopia-related finance cost. Excluding financing cost related to Ethiopia, the net income grew by 3.5%. On a consolidated basis, including Ethiopia operations, our net income excluding minority interest dropped by 10%, driven by the startup cost of Ethiopia. Overall group performance is within our expectations. Looking at the overall shape of the income statement for the group and the company, Safaricom Kenya recorded a 4.6% growth in revenue on the backdrop of the macroeconomic effects and mobile termination rates reduction. Our operating costs grew 8.2% to Kenya shilling 25 billion, driven by higher energy cost, employee-related cost, and currency losses. Safaricom Ethiopia recorded revenues for the very first time following the launch, as earlier mentioned. The Safaricom Ethiopia's Kenya shilling 98.3 million 1-month revenue against 6 months expenses have resulted into a loss of Kenya shilling 7.2 billion in the period. This has resulted into a group profit after tax excluding minority interest of Kenya shilling 33 billion, which is 10% lower than prior year. As I said earlier, this is within our expectations. Safaricom Ethiopia requires significant investments in the initial years of operations before it turns profitable. Moving on now to CapEx, we continued with our sustained investment in our network and systems to support capacity upgrade and user experience. Our group capital expenditure in the period stood at Kenya shilling 37.5 billion, of which Ethiopia operation expenditure accounts for 52% at Kenya shilling 19.5 billion. The Kenya shilling 19.5 billion spent in Ethiopia has supported sites rollout and other operational readiness infrastructure required to launch. As at 31st October, we had 561 sites in Ethiopia, active on 2G, 3G and 4G, and an additional 931 sites under construction. Finally, in Ethiopia, we'd like to reiterate that our medium-term outlook remains unchanged. Our 5-year capex investment projection stands at between USD 1.5 billion to 2 billion. Our sites rollout is targeted at approximately 10 to 12,000 sites in the next 10 years. We target to break even year 4 at EBITDA level with key dependency of mobile financial services launch. Our funding, on the other hand, is on course, having invested USD 598 million to date. We continue to explore other funding avenues as guided by the business decisions and market conditions, which include equity, vendor financing, development finance institutions, and commercial banks. We are in discussion with IFC to partner as both a debt and equity funder, given its global investment profile. While discussions and negotiations with the IFC are ongoing, we would like to inform all our stakeholders that Safaricom PLC will continue to hold the majority stake in the Global Partnership for Ethiopia post-transactions. As key partners of the consortium, we are committed to ensure that our Ethiopia business is well-resourced to carry out its operations. We look forward to updating you on the progress we are making with our Ethiopia business in future engagements. Back to you, Peter, for FY23 guidance and concluding remarks.
Thank you, Dilip. Ladies and gentlemen, we face macroeconomic related headwinds like inflation, currency depreciation, and slower GDP growth, amongst others, in both Kenya and Ethiopia. As noted by our chairman, we welcome the positive news of a peace deal among the two parties in Ethiopia. Ethiopia continues to present many areas of opportunity, even as the business starts to gain growth momentum. Mobile financial services and mobile data services are great examples of such opportunities. In Kenya, we continue to drive targeted customer value proposition, providing them more value for the same price points. Ladies and gentlemen, given all that we have spoken about, our group earning before interest and tax guidance remain unchanged at a range of 87 to 93 billion Kenya shillings. We have, however, revised the EBIT guidance at the operating companies level. The macroeconomic impacts and regulatory changes, particularly MTR, have had an impact on our business. We are therefore revising our EBIT guidance for Kenya from a range of 120 to 123 billion to a range of 112 to 115 billion Kenya shillings. The EBIT guidance for Ethiopia, on the other hand, improves from a loss of 33 to 30 billion to a loss of 25 to 22 billion Kenya shillings range attributed to the delayed launch. Our guidance on capex remain unchanged at both group and operating companies level. As such, the group capex is projected to be within the range of 100 to 108 billion Kenya shillings as previously advised. We remain committed to delivering a good return for our shareholders. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank the board for their support during this period under review. I want to thank my colleagues for their hard work, their dedication, and their commitment. To all our partners, thank you for your support and your partnership that has enabled us to deliver the performance and the achievements that we have presented today. To all our stakeholders, thank you for the confidence in us. I look forward to your continued support as we go into the second half of the year with a view of delivering strong results for the full year. Asanteni sana.
Thank you, John, Peter, and Dilip. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of our half-year results announcement. For the members of the media and bloggers present today, you will have an opportunity to ask your questions at a separate press conference that will take place shortly. Once again, we appreciate you for making the time to join us. On behalf of the entire Safaricom family, Asanteni sana. Have a good day and stay safe.